All right, today we're going to be talking about writing the equation of a line given 2 points. And this is very similar to what we did yesterday and the day before. We just now have to find the slope first. So if I want to write the equation of the line through the points -5, 9 and -2, 0, the first thing I want to do is find the slope. So in order to find the slope, I'm going to think about one of two things. I can just think about the change in y over the change in x. So I can think about these 2 points as if they are in a table. And to get from 9 to 0, I subtract 9. To get from -5 to -2, I add 3. So it would be -9 over 3, or -3 would be my slope. The other thing you can do is use the slope formula, and I would have 9 minus 0 over -5 minus -2, which would also give me 9 over, and -5 minus -2 becomes plus -2, -3, which is sorry, I don't know why I wrote a 9 there. That should be a 3. So that still gives us a slope of -3, either way we look at it. All right, then what we have to think about is our formula y equals mx plus b. And we have to choose a point that we want to use. I'm going to choose this one that has a 0 in it because I think it tends to make my life a little easier. We could also use the one that has the -5 in it. So here, if I choose this point, x is -2, y is 0, and then the slope that we just found is m. So here in my equation, instead of y, I'm going to put 0 because I'm figuring this out for the point -2. So y is 0, m is -3, x is -2, and I'm going to solve for b. This is like what we've been doing for the past couple of days. So now I'm going to multiply. So I have 0 equals -3 times -2 is +6. And then I use inverse operations. This 6 is positive, so I subtract 6 from both sides. And 0 minus 6 gives me -6 equals b. Now that I have figured out what my b is, I'm going to make a little room over here, and we're going to write the equation. And when we write our equation, when we write the equation, we put the x and the y back in. So we have y equals, our slope is -3, x, our y-intercept is -6. So there's the equation of our line. All right, so the first thing we did, either use a table of values, use the slope formula, find your slope. Then choose a point, whichever one you want to use. We could have easily done -5, 9. You substitute the values in. So this -2 went right here where the x was. This 0, it went right here where the y was. And then our slope went right here where m is. So we substituted those numbers in. We simplified -3 times -2, and then we used inverse operations to solve. And lastly, we wrote our equation. All right, so let's look at another one. Here, they're giving us the points in a table. Same process. We can go straight to finding the rate of change here. So this is adding 1 every time it adds 1 over here. And so my change in y over change in x would be 1 over 1. So there's my slope. Now I just choose one of those points. I'm just going to choose the one with smaller numbers in it. And I have y equals mx plus b. That's the slope-intercept formula that I'm using. My y is 8. My slope is 1. My x is 3. So let's look at that. I used the point 3, 8. X is 3, y is 8. So where y was, I put 8. Where m was, I put 1 because we found our slope to be 1. Where x was, I put the 3. Now we're going to simplify. So 1 times 3 is 3. This 3 is positive, so I have to use inverse operations and subtract 3 from both sides. 8 minus 3 is 5. So I get my y-intercept is 5. I am not done yet. I must write my equation. So my equation is y equals my slope of 1 times x plus 5. You do not have to write that 1, so you could just write y equals x plus 5. As a matter of fact, if you see it multiple choice, it will be just x plus 5. But if you wrote it out for me, I would accept either one of those. All right. Now we have one that is a word problem. So we have here that 20 cans of Spam weighs 250 ounces. And then we have that 28 cans weighs 346 ounces. It also tells us down here that X is the number of cans and Y is the weight in ounces. So we need to come up with our ordered pairs. You can think about it in a table. So you could think about the fact that you have your X. You could think about that X. Oops, sorry, wrong color. That X is your cans. And that Y is your ounces. And you could make yourself a table, or you can just write the two ordered pairs, and we're going to go with the ordered paired method. Save us some room here. We don't really have room for that table, so we have an ordered pair of 20, 250, and then we have another ordered pair of 28 and 346. So if I'm going to find my slope, I'm going to subtract my y values. So 346 minus 250. I'm going to subtract my x values. 28 minus 20. And when I do 346 minus 250, I get 96. And 28 minus 20 is 8. And when I divide that, I get 12. So my slope is 12. And my slope is 12, and I have to find my y-intercept. So I'm going to write down here in this space where we talk about what the y-intercept means, because we're trying to write the equation here. So I'm going to choose a point. I'm going to use this 20, 250, and I'm going to substitute those values in. So I have 250 equals 12 times 20 plus b. All right. 12 times 20 is 240. And when I subtract 240 from both sides, I get that b equals 10. That tells me that my equation then is y equals 12x plus 10. So there's my equation. And then I have to talk about what that y-intercept means. Okay? So now that we have the equation, I'm going to clear off a little bit of space here for where we found the slope. I'm going to move the equation up here to the equation part. Give me just a second. All right, so let's put our equation y equals 12x plus 10. And we need to think about what does that y-intercept mean in this equation. Well, the first thing we have to think about is what do x and y represent. So if x represents the number of cans of Spam and y represents the ounces, the weight in ounces of the box, then when I have a y-intercept of 0, 10, That means that when I have the y-intercept is when you have 0 cans. So when there are 0 cans, the box weighs 10 ounces. Now you could have also just said it's the weight of the box with no cans, but I was just showing you what it means in terms of the order of pair. The next thing this asks us to do is to predict the weight of a box that contains 40 cans. Okay, well, 40 cans, that is a X value. So we're going to substitute that into our formula or into our equation for X. So I do Y equals 12 times 40 plus 10, and 12 times 40 is 480. Sorry. 12 times 40 . Yeah, I wrote that right. Sorry. 480 plus 10, and 480 plus 10 is 490. So a box with 40 cans weighs 490 ounces. All right, hopefully that will help you and you will be able to go on to do your other practice problems.